Okay, so again, I have no idea what I'm gonna talk about. But last night, oh my God, last night was weird as fuck. I swear to God, this shit just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. Like I mean, when people first start waking up and they start feeling like they're losing their grip on reality, just with when they start recognizing, what, somebody just talked to me in my head, what? And they start, realizing that, they start feeling like they're losing their minds. Well, I've had that my whole life, so that didn't make me feel like I was losing my mind. And then, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that has not affected me like I've seen it affect other people. And the only thing I can base it on is my spiritual connection in this life or something is just different than some of the other people, and I just would blame that on the need to follow the paradigm. And I feel like that is all about the it's like it has so much to do with the need to be accepted, and also as a soul, this trying to understand who and what you are plays such a big role in why people are being misled. And the stuff that they show me, man, I throughout the day, I'm telling you that the stuff that they will show you, when it depends on what you're talking about with them, it depends on what you're there to learn about, like, because this goes in different stages, and I'm just at this stage that is like is a world that I knew of, but it's opening up more or something. Like the stuff in my body that's weird as fuck. And yeah, and yesterday too, I saw somebody else talking about he called them the brethren, I think. Because I'm always like, I think they're called the brethren, I don't know what I say. I have no idea. That's why I can't listen to other people all the time of their stuff. I have to stay focused on my own stuff. But anyways, so he was talking about the brethren people, and he called them the brethren, and he was talking about energy and that we don't need to eat and stuff like that. And see, that's the stuff that I've been going through in my part of my journey, is the stuff that they show and tell me. I share it along the way, but I know that it's, a lot of people have a lot of other steps that I've already gone through. The steps that I've already gone through are necessary. You can't skip steps. And your soul, your essence, your energy knows exactly, like, it's very set out. I know I talk about this all the time, but it is so, this lesson will come so that once you heal from this one, that you're prepared for the next one, and prepared for the next one, and the next one. And the all of them work together, though. It's so seamless, and it is trippy because you'll see it as you go further past it. It's always looking back gives you the best view, and it is not being trapped in the past. You don't ever want to be trapped in the past, but being able to look back is what gives you your best perspective when you're trying to understand things. But there is this whole thing that they keep showing me about the energy and the coming in to the plant light went off. The energy and coming into, because it's not even coming in. It's trippy how they'll show me, but it's like your soul, like what I keep saying about, like your crystal thing, your multifaceted thing, that being that you are, that is has the handle on all of them. It can handle a whole lot of lives. So, and that is, that next aspect of you, past the one. Okay, so oh yeah, because that thing yesterday, yeah, with the free, because it is like, okay, so in that movie Free Guy, and I was talking about how it's so real about what's happening, and so he was, when he's waking up and stuff, and just the whole way they do the game and the points when I swear to God, it's very creative though. And when you think of it as representing something else. So anyways, there's a couple of characters in the show, or in the game, that they call them the sunglass people. And he's an NPC who's waking up. And so he's starting to have awareness and desires and stuff like that. And so he's really attracted to the sunglass people. They're cool as fuck. And they walk around with sunglasses and everything just happening for them. Everything just working right. They're the ones who just like, everything just is working for him. And so he's noticed, he's impressed. And so anyways, it's the sunglass people. It is like that. That is what you start becoming in the game as you awaken. It's like you go through these stages of the Ryan Reynolds character is desires. It's like, and a lot of it happens for people when they know what they don't want. And so they'll be like at work and being like, man, this sucks, man. Fuck, I hate this job. This job sucks. God, what am I doing here? God, I don't even like these people. God, look at the time. It's been a half hour. And it's just like, it's misery. It's fucking a prison that someone puts themselves in because of the paradigms, the structures around them that holds them, that they create. Well, I gotta have this fucking job, man. How am I gonna fucking pay my bills if I don't have this fucking job? I won't even be able to fucking eat. Gotta have this fucking job. But and that is the energy. I just, the girl who was doing the clean, I think it was her video. Yeah, because in her video, even when she was talking about this cleaning thing and stuff like that, there was a line in it that she said that I thought was super important for people to realize, because people, you got to catch yourself. Just like me, I'm not saying I'm fucking perfect. I'm just emotional about this shit. But that she said, she was talking about the job and the cleaning or something, and she goes, because nothing's gonna get better for me. I was like, dude, you just fucking, okay, and all these different levels of these different ways people are talking about. You just set yourself a spell. You just directed the energy. There's like all these different ways you can look at it. You just fucking did it. And that is what you want to catch yourself. We all need to catch ourselves, because that is where we're setting that tone for ourselves. We're putting ourselves in that direction. So nothing better is going to happen. I know nothing better is going to happen. So then it goes in that way. And right now I'm on the edge, like, fuck, man, I'm on the fucking ledge, man. And to me, I gotta do these, whatever you want to call them, mantras, self-talk. To me, it's trippy, because when I'm doing it, it's starting to be like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's trippy, but it's part of that thing. It's part of becoming the sunglass people, and making the game work for you, and just seamlessly, everything just works. And so I've got so many things coming in my head. There's so many things, like, while I'm talking fast and stuff, but I've got so many things going at the same time. It's like I'm trying to speed up so I can catch them all, but it's, fuck. It's just a lot sometimes. But anyways, so you want to make sure you catch yourself on your self-talk. But as this stuff is going on right now, like, my self-talk is 100%. Whatever is going to be is going to be. I'm not going to stress out about it. I made my decision that I'm not going to play the games. And I feel like I'm making a pretty safe decision, but the universe can, whatever is going to happen can happen. I mean, they could swoop in, just like I said, and say, hey, we just auctioned your house. And, and then I don't have a civil rights lawyer at this point. And a lot of the lawyers are still on the side of, oh, well, I got to get paid. Well, I got to get a job. Well, I got to get out there and work, So they haven't crossed over. That little bubble hasn't opened in them, because they've got themselves structured in a comfortable existence with, however they've set it up. And that's why for so many people who reject the society and stuff like that, starts in poverty, where people are just like, well, I would choose to be homeless than go fucking work like this bullshit. And it's so crazy, because this is just in our time. Because just think about, it wasn't that long ago where people were out on their farms. And the other day I was raking, and well, I was doing it and I was thinking about the work, and the work that we had to put into things, the work we had to put into ourselves and our lives and stuff like that. But it doesn't really feel like work when you're just taking care of yourself. And if it feels like work, then, you've got some issues that you need to work on. Oh, yeah, because I got to say this one too, because this one was really interesting too. So this was a indigenous person, and she was talking about the healing philosophies and stuff like that. That they were, all the natural stuff, all the stuff that was good for us. They said, no, that's bad. That's primitive, all their bullshit. And so they could move forward with the chemical solvents of our life. And so she's saying that now there's so many of the indigenous are trying to bring this knowledge and philosophy and healing properties back to the general population so that we all have awareness. And so one thing she said about the not healing your trauma, and she said, so what they say is that when you have, I can't remember the whole thing, how she explains how it moves through your mind when something happens, but they have a whole way of explaining it until it gets into the third eye, which they call it something else, where you have to, she's been snoring, I swear to God, for hours. Oh, I haven't even said how weird the night was. It was fucking weird as shit. Still, let me just finish this, okay, sweetie? I'm only 11 minutes in. Just lay down and rest a little bit more, okay? Let me finish this. I'm on a roll, and I got a phone call after this, and I'm trying to hurry because I've got this phone call. Okay, so, anyways, she said, so when something happens, like a trauma in your life, and something happens, and how it moves through your mind and gets to there, and then when you don't heal it and stuff, and how she explains, but once it goes down from here, so your unhealed trauma, your unhealed pain, some experience that happened that you tried to, not discount. I think a lot of people do that with really traumatic ones, but a lot of people do that with things that they do, that they are ashamed of. And there's so much associated pain and trauma with shame, and it comes from all different things. I think, there's probably a lot of kids who were sexually abused as a child, and the process that they went through, it took them to some places where they feel like, shame, like they wish they would have stood up for themselves, they wish they would have done this, they wish they would have done that, and they'll beat themselves up even if they were like 3 years old, and they'll sit there and be like, they should have done better, and they feel so shameful about it, and it's a hard thing to get over. And so anyways, those are all things that, each individual soul has got its own things going. But so she said that as it drips down into your throat, it affects into so it starts going down the kundalini, or down the chakra system back. So it's going the reverse direction. And so it goes down and goes into the heart. And then when it gets down into the root, the gut, she said that is where it becomes black gut. They call it black gut. And that is where they think of it as like the dark spirit has taken you over. And then you are on already, it's like you're spiritually dead, and like you go through a process of death until you totally die. And I can totally understand what the hell she was saying when she was explaining it. And you know what? I mean, if we would have been taught those things from the beginning, instead of, here, take some pills and go talk to this person who has got horrible trauma themselves and has been indoctrinated for years and years, go talk to them about your problems. And it's like, and, when we've done that, and it has worked for some people, but the thing that works is the talking. It's the talking. If everybody, talking to yourself, talking inside your mind, talking is the healing component. And it is, And I noticed this when I was really young too, is I noticed how much people just needed to talk about what was going on and stuff. And when they would talk, it would heal them and it would make them better. And so, in how much people needed to have somebody to talk to. And I don't know, I swear to God, just so much changed in the 80s and 90s. Just a lot changed. I think, I think all of us who grew up in the 60s and the 70s, like, I swear to God, we were living a completely different life. Like, I really think we enjoyed being outside. It wasn't a punishment. It was more of a punishment to have to stay indoors. You would do anything you could to get outside. And when the street lights came on, you didn't want to go back in. And not just the 10 o'clock, do you know where your children wasn't just to remind parents that they had kids. It was kind of like an alert before going to sleep too. And it was a kind of, make sure your kids are indoors, because it was like a curfew kind of thing. It wasn't just, it was an expected thing. You went in, and it wasn't like a written curfew that I know of, but it was kind of, I mean, when they're going on before the 10 o'clock news, before you go and lay down and listen to that and meditate out and fall asleep listening to the fucking all the horrible things that happen in your neighborhood, then it was like, you got to remember that, to me, if they're coming on and doing all of this extra work to make sure you got your kids in the house. So it was kind of like, do you know where your kids are? Shame on you. You better get your kids in the house. It's dark. So it was more like, where people try and say stuff now. And I just think, like, there's that some of us who grew up back then have more perspective, because these Gen X kids who act like, that they were punished, and some of the videos I see is just like, oh, we had to drink out of a hose and eat out of a rusty old tin lunchbox, and we had to walk ourselves to school. And it's like, what the fuck? I was walking myself to school when I was 5 years old across goddamn railroad tracks, because my mom had other kids and there was other kids out walking. It was like, that was just a thing, you just, hey, kids, there's the kids walking to school, follow them. It's like, okay, see you after school. And you're sitting there walking like, but, you get to know more of the kids, you talk to the kids, you start playing with the kids, and, that's how kids in the neighborhood becomes friends, because your parents pushed you out the door and said, yeah, it may be uncomfortable, get your ass out there and meet some kids. And, that wasn't something that was done later. It was like, the kids are uncomfortable. Oh, you got to make sure that they're just stay in the house. You don't have to go out there. It's uncomfortable to meet people. And so it was like a different kind of, a different energy took over. And when I see those people, I think, okay, this has got to be the kids that were raised more in the 80s, maybe the late 70s. But because in the 80s, it really did become, parents were selfish. And it was, there was a lot of just, it was cocaine. And like I said, there was the coloring and perming your hair. That was frying off all these people who in the 70s, they had long hair, guys had long hair, and that is your, your antenna. And the people were a lot more peaceful and loving. And then all of a sudden the 80s, like, perm your hair, fry it off. And people became really, like neuro driven, like it was all just them, do drugs. And, people were total workaholics. I mean, I fit into all those things. I wasn't, I was not a perfect person. I had a lot of things I had to heal. Fuck. I had a lot of shit I had to heal through this ordeal that I've been going through. And it started for me a long while ago when I got the brain injury. And I know, all of that has to do with everything, because we come here for a certain thing to happen a certain way. Nothing happens accidentally or whatever. I just heard a crazy story too of a woman who, it was in the 50s, and it was a girl, her parents were scientists or biologists or something, were working in the Amazon, so they sent her to a boarding school, but she did spend time in the Amazon with them. And then she went, when she was graduating from the school, then her mom came and got her, and they were going to fly home to the dad, and it was on a pretty small little plane. And so when they flew, the storm hit, and this is creepy, because the lightning hit into the plane. And she said she was sitting she was in her seat, belted in. And she said all of a sudden it was like the plane started disappearing. And it just was disappearing until it got to her seat. And then she just started falling. And she fell 10,000 feet, 2 miles down. She fell into the forest. And her injuries were, she broke her collarbone. She got a gash on her arm. She got, there was something else. It was all like not very bad injuries. And then she survived in the Amazon all by herself for a couple of weeks until she got to somewhere and then flew back to Germany or something. And then was in the hospital, I think, a couple weeks. But she had to get herself out of the Amazon. And that was all by the stuff she learned as a child, of how to survive in the Amazon. And her wound was full of maggots. She ended up pouring gasoline. She found a campsite that had been abandoned or was not used. I don't know how they, I think that there's poachers and stuff in the Amazon. So I don't know. But anyways, there was gasoline, and she poured it on her wound and to get the maggots out of her. I guess it's the leeches that are good. The maggots probably, ugh. Yeah, I don't know though, because I swear to God, I've seen crazy stuff like what they used to do a long time ago to get rid of infections. Like I think during times of like war and stuff like that, when there would be these ghastly wounds and they needed to heal them, I swear to God, they used maggots sometimes to eat the bacteria away, or the rotten stuff. And then they would do the healing stuff on it. I don't know. But anyways, I just thought that, it's trippy. But that right there, see, you can't go before your time. And that is where we get these crazy ass miracles that happen, because it's impossible to go before your time. And we all have miracles that happen throughout our lives, but something will happen and then we just think, oh, I must have just thought that. That didn't really happen, because it's part of the veil that is over you, is part of the being focused in the game. It was important to be focused on the game, and now it's important to realize you're in a game. Just to realize you're the sunglass person. You aren't a part of the game. You are in the game. And then when you have your higher self, see, your higher self is tons and tons and tons of different people. It's all, as much as real as I am as Kelly, there's endless amounts of those, just as living all these different lives. And so the higher self, the aspect of, the one that is watching itself is, it's kind of funny. It kind of like the image is like this like, not kung fu, not Buddha, but it is this, I don't know. Some of the imagery that they'll put into your mind is really cool, but sometimes I don't know how to explain it. But anyways, it's like this character, and it's like he's got all the screens in front of him of all the lives. And so he can see himself in every different possibility of every different way, how it's kind of narcissistic, really, isn't it? Like, no wonder a soul has to battle its own ego and narcissism, because it is kind of narcissistic to go to such lengths to see yourself, to understand yourself. But it really has to do with because you're energy. So you think about, you're just energy. You're just out there, energy, just zipping around. And you're like, man, I know I'm something. And then you can go in so that you can see what you are. So it makes sense for a soul to want to see itself. But you can also see, because there's two sides to the coin. There's two sides to everything. And then there's everything in between. So, and everything in between is what you're there to experience and learn from, is all the in between, I think. And let me think. Okay, so I saw a Zoom call, and it was a live Zoom call thing. So there was a bunch of people talking. I only listened to it for a couple minutes, but it was saying, so somebody was asking one of the people, I might have just caught a recording of it. I don't know. But anyways, was asking, so what parasites are the most common? And so the woman who was answering, she said roundworm is, and she said, those ones are really freaky because they'll come out of your urethra, just like that girl had said the other day. But she said that weird black worm came out of hers, and then it went and hooked onto this after it swam around. And then she says the roundworms will come out, and she said it's freaky because they'll look like earthworms and come out of your urethra. Like, ugh, come on, find out what kills the roundworms. Like, God damn. And like, you start thinking, what are they just in there swimming around in your bladder? Are they just sitting on the side waiting for it to fill up? Or they, it was like, ugh, I don't know. I hope I don't have any roundworms. And then pinworms. And she said, most everybody has pinworms. And that's what drives everybody crazy once they start learning about the parasites. It's like every time you have an itch down there, it's like, fuck, is it worms? It's like, God damn. And so she said that one. And then she said the other one is, a big one is tapeworms. And she said those are the hardest ones to get rid of. And she said you have to use this certain kind of a root or flower that they don't like. And so I fucking went right the hell on Amazon and ordered some. I have it's in my cart. I haven't ordered it yet, so it's in my cart. I'm always doing that when I'll hear these certain things. I'll go in and put them. Propolis or propolis or something is a really good one for immune system and stuff. You can look it up. I just saw about that one this morning. But the tapeworm thing, when I was a kid, I would grind my teeth all the time, and my grandma was a nurse, and she told my mom one time that I probably have a tapeworm, and so that just always stuck with me because my mom told me that fucking 50 years ago. And so it's always stuck with me. I've always thought, man, do I have a tapeworm inside of me? But, I've gained weight, when I had kids, and after I had my hysterectomy, I gained some weight. And so, I think I think if you had, especially a tapeworm that's 50 years old, I don't think I would ever gain weight. It would be eating every fucking thing. So I would think even if you had a tapeworm that was 50 years old, it would fucking, you'd see it in your bloating out in your stomach. Like, oh, maybe my stomach is stick out. I don't know. I don't know. This fucking parasite shit freaks me the fuck out. And it was like, how in the hell, if we are holograms, how do we really have worms that come out of us? Like, how do we get parasites when we're a hologram? Like, it's just part of the movie, is just part of the experience. So, I don't get, those are the things that trip me out. Is like, it's weird. Just like how we can be affected by poison. And right now, it is so fucking foggy out there. Oh my gosh, it's so foggy. And I saw another place saying something about they were getting a bunch of fog or some other weird storms. And let me think, so there's something with, because there's something with the $50 bill and how it folds. And about the $20 bill in the tower, the situation. So we got that whole thing. So the $50, so all these people, that go in and just, it's kind of like the people obsess over some of this stuff, but we need that energy. So it's not like they're doing something wrong. We have to have that, and then it's part of their own plot, how they awaken and what benefited, it's all, everybody's got their own thing. And so the $50 thing shows what they are thinking is an explosion in a dam. And so people are putting it together about this stuff because that's what did the Oklahoma bombing, was that which blew that whole town. And this is way, way, way more that's missing than it was that. And so, I mean, we know for sure. I mean, either it's a total 100% scare tactic just to keep people on the edge of their seat, or it is, it's definitely a disclosure awakening thing. I mean, that they're just moving these deadly chemicals around us all the time on these trains that are just like can dump over. Like that has been made very clear to us that, and they, they're not doing the infrastructure. They're not the money doesn't go back. This is a thing too, is like, people have to see, because I've been seeing so many of these different videos of people going and buying like old houses and stuff like that. But people going and buying old hotels, and then a lot of people doing houses like me trying to do an Airbnb. And since I don't know, where this is going, I've got my self-talk I got to do all day long of, it's going to be fine. Wherever I'm going to be, it's going to be the right place. It's like you got to, whatever it is that can calm your soul. It's not like calm your soul fucking knows. It's to calm your mind so your mind doesn't start shooting out fucking chemicals in through your system and get you all worked up. So you got to just keep yourself calm, and just keep self-talking yourself through it. If I lose the house, I was supposed to lose the house. And I could do everything possible, and I would still lose the house. It's not going to be, and those are those forks in the roads where you have to make a decision, when the fucking infrastructure of the house is collapsing, and then, and there's not the money to fix it, and I don't know if the bathroom floor is about to go through the ground. So then it's like, it's like I have to pay attention to the signs. And then at the same time, where I'm hearing the judicial say is against our human rights, that they can't do this debt, and the court's on our side. But, we're seeing what the court's doing. It's like the laws and stuff may be on our side or whatever. There's something on our side, and the people will be further punished for not complying to what is now on our side. But they've already, so many of them already got the death penalty anyway, so I don't think they're that concerned at this point. But so anyways, I have to just do the self-talk to keep myself calm through the thing. But let me think so all these people who are getting these cool hotels, like I just saw this really cool one in Nova Scotia. These two girls went and bought this old hotel, and it's like on a fisherman wharf thing or something. It looks really cool, and they redid it all themselves, and they just got it 8 months ago. And and they've already getting bookings and stuff. I saw it, I was like, fuck, I want to go there. It looks really pretty. And but this is where our change will happen. So you get these two girls. This is a for instance. I don't know. This is just a for instance. You get these two girls, and they go build this motel, and make something cool and become a part of a community, and bring money into the community by giving place for travelers, and then that gives other people opportunity who want to provide food or any other kind of services or whatever. So it all works together and create a community. And then the thing is, where we change our outlook in this process is not to think, oh, I'm going to do this so I can get rich. You're doing this to provide jobs, to provide community, to provide travel. And when you're doing all of those things, the universe will provide you. So things will just start coming to you. It's not like you need their money. What people are constantly trapped by this money. I got to do this to get this money. No, the universe has lots of ways of bringing you stuff. It can be somebody in the town sees how hard you work, so they provide all your food for you. It's different things. So it is, once you get into that groove of living in harmony and providing, and it is in service to others, instead of like, I'm going to have this hotel, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to make a lot of money, I'm going to go buy another, instead it's like, I'm going to, like, for this, like, in a lot of cases, I'm going to go in, I'm going to build a part of, be a part of the community, because I'm bringing something into the community and offering jobs and paying people really livable wages, not trying to take advantage of people, but being, that is building something. And that is what we've got to move towards, is this building. We have to see it's not taking from us. So many people think that something's going to be taken from them and that they don't have enough to give. And that's why we have to change our mindset. We have to change our priorities. We have to change how we look at things. That's why we have to go through so much loss and so much of, like, that the loss teaches people a value. And so people, have to go through this experience because it triggers this other part of them to come on. In that part, still, there's so much growth. There's still so much you have to do to get from the first part of the waking up to, what isn't good for you and what is good for you. And then through the process, all the time, it is a natural process. Like I said, with the stairs, you can't do the kundalini. You can't, like, I can't go, well, I'm going to just go ahead and skip from my sacral. I'm going to go right up on here on my throat. No, it happens all how it has a way of going up the stair through the process. And so through the process, you have different doors that open so that you can heal and go through it's so trippy, because how portals and how energy works and stuff like that. And then it's like this, it's like the same things. And so you go through these portals into the next learning. And it's so trippy now, is at this point, as how much it feels like, it feels so unreal. Like, I don't even know how to explain how unreal everything feels. Like, I feel so much like a character. I feel like the sunglasses person. I feel like it's weird. And last night, I was going to go to bed, and I was back there brushing my teeth, and Stella had conked out, and she was laying there snoring, I think, and, or was she, I think she was laying there snoring. I went over there and I went into the bathroom and started brushing my teeth, and she woke up and she started crying. She does this all the time when I'm in the bathroom. All the time. And I've told you how many people or beings or something are always hanging out in my fucking hall around my bathroom. Now they're always in the bedroom. They're in my bedroom all the time. Like, and I'm sure they're in the other bedroom, but I can see them in my bedroom all the time. And so I just, like I said, I don't go and acknowledge and, hey, let's chat, like some of the people do. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And plus, I don't know. I know that we're going through some weird shifting things. So, and I don't, sometimes it seems like that it's not just the watchers. It is like people from this realm who go into the astral. But it's more like, some of them are more like the police ones, like what we think of like the Men in Black. Like, I think they're around too. Like, there's all sorts of things going on. And it is, and that realm isn't far from us. The realm is just, we just can't see it. And, but as we awaken more, then we can see this stuff more. And so I think that's why I can see so much action going around all the time. But she really gets bothered when I go into the bathroom, and she'll start crying. And I could feel like there was so much fucking energy and so much like, and they go into forms. It's not like just energy zipping around. You can see that too. But they go in, there's like forms, and they aren't small. And some of them are really big. And so I could see that. And then like when I turned, and it was just so much by my door. And just the feeling was like, come on in, come in, go to sleep. And I was just like, okay, I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm like, fuck this. And I came back out and I started telling Stella, yeah, I'll sleep out here with you tonight. And so I laid on the couch, and I was laying there, and I don't know, she was moving around or something. And so I was uncomfortable and she was uncomfortable, and I woke up and I was just like, ugh. And I think she went back to sleep. But when I stood up, I went to go look, and I was like, I bet you it's fucking 10:30. And then, fuck, 10:30. It was like 10:22 or something. I was like, oh, fuck. And so I was like, God damn, the night's just got, some people haven't even gone to bed yet. And so I go in, and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to just go lay in my bed. And so I went and laid in the bed, and the dream stopped. Like, it's fucking crazy. And I don't even, like, it's fucking crazy. I don't even know. Like, just coming out and going to a party, I guess. And so then, whatever, sometimes I just know she can sense some stuff. And so she came in there or something, and then she was laying out. Oh, she was laying. I think she came into the bedroom once. Like these nights are weird because it's like I'm never really it's weird. And so then she came back out here, but I must have just, like, I can just go in and out. And then and right away, it's just like being in other places. And so and being around all these people. And then she started crying. No, she started barking. She all of a sudden started barking. And so I jumped up and I came out here. And let me think. So that when that happened, I got really creeped out because it's creepy. And so then I came back out, I laid back on the couch, and then I started hearing all of this noise, and I kept stopping, like, as I had the beats on, and so I would stop them, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was, even at one point, I was sitting up, and it was sounding like it was in the bathroom, and it was sounding like there was an animal in the fucking bathroom. And I was like, okay, this is fucking creepy as fuck. So it can't be a mouse. A mouse could be making that much fucking noise. A mouse can go quiet. I was like, okay, so could it be a rat? Could there be a rat in there? And so I started thinking about, the floor, start thinking about, like, where they could be coming in through. And there's so much noise and, like, crashes and stuff. Nothing's crashed. And then the one day when I was sure that there was a mouse in the wall, because up above where my it's a stackable washer dryer thing, there's a hole in the wall up at the top. And I need to pull all that stuff out. So I've got these things. It's like, okay, well, I'll fix that. When I pull that out and I got to fix the floor, then I'm going to, patch the hole, paint the ceiling, paint it all and stuff like that when I redo the bathroom. And so I was going to do all the jobs at once. And so that hole is there. So I always think, but I think, like, oh, sometimes there'll be spider webs and stuff. So I know spiders can come. But so I was sitting in the tub, and I started hearing the mouse scurrying around. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's in the wall. Is it trying to get up to the hole? Can it see the light? Is it trying to get to the light? And so I start pounding on the wall behind me, because it's just this little wall right there. And so the bathtub is here in this little wall. So it's in this wall that I'm leaning up against. So I start pounding on it, and it stop, and then it'll start back, and then it'll stop, and then it'll start back. And so it was like 3 times or something, and then it stopped. It didn't do it anymore. I thought maybe it got too scared and it left, but I don't know. And it could have been, there's I don't know. It was weird. It was so weird. Finally, I just got up. It was just too fucking creepy. I couldn't relax. I couldn't go to sleep. And of course, Stella's been just snoring her head off all fucking morning, where I could have slept more. But it's so weird. There is something so weird. Like, like, I swear to God, I feel like my body is only here because I think it's here. I swear to God, it's like, it's like hard to, like you're here, you have to be here. You can't go out of the game until you exit. You take your exit, your death plan, your, however you die to get out. So you can't leave here until you leave, until you separate from the vessel. You got to separate from the vessel, which is so trippy because you would think they would have to be flesh and blood in order to need to separate. But it is like the hologram, but it's at different frequencies because it's at different states of matter. And so the frequency, but it kind of holds us. It bounces. That's why it sounds like a spacesuit that we can be inside of. But it's like my spacesuit feels like it's losing all its air or something. It feels so heavy, dragging. And I keep thinking this has got to be what it just feels like right before it flips the other direction, where all of a sudden it's like, we got to take a nice deep breath of, I don't know. And, but on the $50 bill for it to say that, and people are saying it's Hoover Dam and it's this coming. So I was looking on the map yesterday of where that was, with Arizona and Nevada. And there's some other weird stuff going on in Arizona or Nevada. Where was it? But that's why I was like trying to see. It was one of those two places. And it was another thing that they told the people about an emergency alert. See, they know that there's people like me, a lot of us, who are paying attention and watching all that stuff. So they know it's easy to create a lot of fear. And the practice is, this is what people need to wrap their heads around, is that all of those fear triggers are your opportunity to remind yourself about faith. And that is what I have to keep doing about the house, because no matter what, just because I'm in there mantras and all this, setting my intention and I'm manifesting my Airbnb and I'm I learned that you can be manifesting all the fucking shit you want. And if you're going in the wrong direction, they will fucking knock you on your ass and you will go in the direction they lead you. And they will, there's a certain point of your vessel or you being outside of where you're supposed to be that you're allowed, or that you go through, because it's a part of your plan. So you have what you can look back on to understand yourself. And so, but at some point, you will be knocked off that track and put on and they may do it a bunch of times, it could be a bunch of times. I've heard a lot of people have to reach a whole bunch of different bottoms. Like you hear about addicts and stuff who, their bottom just got lower and lower and lower. We all have our line in the sand. We all have our bottom, and to me, I've just always been one of those people who, when something goes wrong, you got to just pick up the pieces and get going. You can't sit there and cry about it. You can't go crawl in bed and whine and have somebody cut, it just wasn't what I ever had in life. It was like you get up and you figure it out. You get yourself out of it. And so, and it was hard, man. When I got that brain injury, fuck, I wanted to have sympathy. I wanted to have people feel sorry for me. I wanted, I felt so, it's so painful inside when, and even the first year and a half when I was going through some of the hardest things, I wasn't even diagnosed. I only knew for myself, but that was, I was just getting like shifted and tossed around because it was malpractice and nobody wanted to be have to deal with it. And so it was just some bullshit, especially the last neurologist. No, wasn't the last one, because the last one I ended up going to was in Seattle. But the last one in Spokane, when he just wanted to say I must have Alzheimer's like my aunt. And because my aunt had early onset Alzheimer's and she died. And they took her brain, because there's a bunch of people in my family with autoimmune, and they took her brain to go and study it because of something with the her type of Alzheimer's and the MS and the all of that stuff. When she was first diagnosed, they said she had mad cow, and that was a long time ago. And but it's all of, it could have been, to me it could be, you have allergies to heavy metals and then they dump this shit on you and then you have reactions to it and the stuff they put in the foods. And we all have different reactions, and they know how to target certain DNAs. And I think and they know, like, we have all these weird DNAs inside of us. It's the people who don't seem to know, but that's part of the awakening, is them awakening and figuring it out and finding out, that we, to me, it is, that these certain beings that were trying to take over these indigenous people who lived here, and used the corruption of science and trying to outwit or outsmart people or whatever. But to me, it has been this huge like you think about Dr. Moreau's Island or something, and all of these islanders, and then he puts this big lab in the middle of it, and then he starts, getting people who work there, stay working there. And then, maybe he has to do a couple of them in, take a couple parts off of some people, start taking their DNA, start maybe, take the lightest ones and keep trying to breed them or whatever. It's just like they do with the dogs breeding. But whatever, so that they can keep removing the melanin to create the white people. But the other day I was thinking, it's kind of funny though, is because where they wanted to make all of their, master race of droid type people, is how much that the people lacking the melanin, I picture like Vanilla Ice or Eminent, like all these people who they lack the melanin, but they are drawn to that, like they are drawn to it, like this natural draw of like, if it's not just lifestyle, because rap created the whole, and hip hop created the whole gangster lifestyle. It's not like that. I just saw the coolest ass video, so fucking cool, of all these older women, and they all have red t-shirts. So if you can find this video, they all have red t-shirts on, and they have a number on the t-shirt, and the number on the t-shirt is their age. And it looks like I don't know, maybe it's Brooklyn or something. It looks, definitely it's a city. You can tell by the old brick buildings and stuff, but it's a giant, I don't know if it's a giant, what is that called now? Hold on. Jump rope festival or competition or what, but it's all these older women. So I don't know if they were all competing against them, and came back. Like, I don't know how it all came together. It is so freaking cool to see the videos. Oh my gosh. And it reminds me back again of when we were younger, and us kids out in the suburbs, we were out on our bicycles, riding around, and there'd be housing developments going in. We go walk through the little houses, like, we would always do. I was always stepping on nails. I was always getting hurt, and we were always doing stuff like that. And in the cities where they didn't have as much to go out and explore, I guess they did a lot of cool stuff like that. And I would always, when I would see those girls do that jump roping, and I was just like, man, because we could do some jump roping, but not anything like those girls that were in the city like that. And then seeing those old ladies, and they've got all these ropes going, and they're just jumping. And it's like, oh, it's so fucking cool. And then look at the skill too that it takes, and that was something that kids nowadays are missing out, is this development in their skills. And there's just things that they're missing out on, and it's all based on fear. And stay here, I don't want you to feel bad, just sit in here. And that's why so many of these parents, that they don't know yet, the bad things that they've done in the child rearing department. They just are so busy, like that one, the Anunnaki princess one. She, is so focused on her mom abusing her, and the pain that she felt, but she's already affected others by being their mom. And so she has that added, and that's what happens to everybody, when you don't heal your trauma and then you go become a mom, you all end up like putting your stuff out on them, and then having to heal that relationship too. And the best thing, because every mom wants forgiveness, is that they have to learn to forgive their own mom. It's like the trickle down. You have to forgive who's ahead of you if you want to be forgiven from behind. You see what I'm saying? It's like this connection. And if you are incapable of forgiving, then I don't think you will ever get a full forgiveness from the ones behind you that you affect. And don't forget, when you affect your kids by your own trauma, that affects your grandkids. Because like I have a whole family of grandkids who just sees, oh grandma, you're so crazy. Oh grandma, you're so crazy. So it affects they look through the lens of the other person, that person's pain and trauma. But that is also where will they will have that be a part of their healing, is and how it would work is like you would heal with your parent. And so you would go through that and you would start feeling better about that relationship, and it doesn't feel as toxic. You can have conversations, you can, set your boundaries and end conversations when you feel appropriate without being rude. You can just be like, okay, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I gotta go, I mean, because my one daughter and I mean, we can easily get ourselves into a hotbed of in a conversation, and one of us will always just be like, I'll talk to you later. I gotta go get something done. Sometimes I think that she wants to go further into the thing, but I don't have the energy. Arguing is pointless anymore. And it's all based on perspective, and people, they need to bounce their perspective out, and so that they can understand themselves. But is where you need to have like your own community or something. Otherwise you're just attacking the other person by telling them what they do wrong to you. If you need to purge something out and have someone listen, it's not that you need to go and tell them and say, you do this, you do that. And that is something where people do so much. Well, then you're just attacking this other person, and you're telling them they need to be different. Nobody needs to be different. Everybody's on their journey. The thing we're trying to do is get along and appreciate one another, even in times of trouble and turmoil, and to be able to get over our own selves, our own ego, our own pain, our own suffering, and still be kind. Those are the things that we're trying to accomplish. And so forgiving the person ahead of you, then when you then see the person behind you treat the person ahead of you in a way that came from you, then you have that added that added thing. That is where I say, like, how you affect others, you will be held responsible for how you affect others. So that would be a way that you would see it, is that this person behind you then is treating this person up there, and they don't have any pain or trauma from this person. They haven't gone through what you went through. Everything that their view of this person is through your pain and trauma. And so and then you heal yours, but they still have this same view. So then you have this whole thing that you have created that you have to go through the process of releasing. And so it can be, like they say something, and, it can be just, each time it's like a mantra. Yeah, well, I had some issues with my parent, and I, did some toxic behaviors by trying to have you be my support system while I was suffering in this relationship. And, however people want to do it, a big thing is about being real, being honest, being humble. And, don't be a fake, don't be a phony, and don't try and cover yourself. It's always obvious, and it's going to be more and more obvious. People who have these really toxic behaviors and characteristics out of the relationship is going to become more and more obvious. It will become more and more uncomfortable. The vibration and the frequency changing would make it to where you would just be too uncomfortable. And that is, like what I said, that so many people are will be a mass exit, the rapture or whatever. There's going to be a mass exit because of the big shift in the frequency. And I don't know. This could be the solar event. I mean, I used to be so worried about the solar event thing back in 2015, and I was like in panic and stuff. Now we've come so far, and I now I understand so much more about it and stuff like that. But I have a hard time thinking that that is to me, the solar flash was going to happen when, I mean, there's going to be spare. To me, we've got some steps to go before the solar flash. It could be really, really close. It could be within a couple months, but we still have some big things to go through because we have to. There's just too much hanging on the. We got too many balls in the air. And then all of a sudden, then there's the solar flash. No, we gotta some of these balls need to fall. Some of these balls need to be shown. Some of these, so some of this stuff has to be seen. I think it's the outrage, it's the emotions of the people as a disclosure occurs. And then on top of it, we've got all these disasters. And, I would think they're going to use this chemical that they have. They're going to use it. And I would think it's going to be someplace over here. And then we have a huge, what is that thing called? A typhoon or cyclone or something is hitting over like by Guam. I think it already hit like this morning or something. But then, I don't know if that's going to create more with the earthquakes and stuff like that, because the things that are going on over there when they reverberate over to here. And we got 3 volcanoes going right now. And so all of those things, those are going to be all, creating chaos and waking people up. But then all of the stuff with disclosure. But I still, there's still, to me, is going to be like the same thing of like all of the other big false flag events we've had, it's going to be something. Something is going to happen. I think it's going to be over on the West Coast, but there is something going on in New York right now. I just saw somebody saying that the water is coming up, and I can't remember what it was. Because I go through the videos. I'm always just looking for like current things that are happening right now, like what's going on right now. And that's how I see it, like with the storms and stuff like that. Because that is what I'm watching, is the energy. Like when I'm going through and listening to what the people are saying, I'm trying to pick up on like, okay, the energy. Okay, so we got this many more people and they're on this focus, and they're, it's like where we are is what I'm always looking for. Where are we energetically? And it's hard to tell. Like you can tell the energy, but I mean, before it happens, you always think, oh, this got to be it, man. This is so intense. And then it just gets more. So, but as far as I'm concerned, there's going to be, multiple events because all these disasters keep going. We still have, some big things that are going to happen, but and all this stuff that keeps being disclosed, and all of that outrage is what's going to create the solar flash, I think. And I think it's going to go over the summer. So we're going to keep having the flashes and the storms and all of it's going to keep building. It's not going to, go and just all of a sudden become like dormant and calm. It's going to keep building this like the popcorn is not going to stop popping. The lid's coming off. And so all of the energy that is going out from all of this stuff happening, and all of it affecting the sun, and having these flashes and stuff. But there's going to be something that is going to be just like something that's just going to be like boom, that is going to really send out a shock wave, I think, towards the sun. Like this energy is this reverberation kind of the energy. And so when it goes and it hits, that is what is going to, I guess, maybe black out the sun or something. So black out the sun, and then all that energy come back, and it's going to be like, and that is going to be the actual reset part where I think the water will change on the planet and stuff. Who knows if, it'll keep going more and more. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is all stuff of just trying to guess by paying attention and stuff, is and our guides, I don't think our guides are just going to sit down and tell us all. It's like, we came in to experience it, so they're not going to just tell you every little detail. And and I've had them tell me certain things, and it is true what they say. When they tell you, then you focus on trying to change the thing they told you. It's like, you got to let go of it. And so that is what they're constantly trying to, so they're not going to come in and tell each little detail. But as you go through the expansion and learning and stuff, you're always learning more things. You're always expanding and more and becoming bigger and stuff. So it is productive to no matter what it is you're paying attention to, no matter what it is you're doing, it's productive because it creates energy. And so the oh, man, I swear to God, it does feel like whenever it gets like around an hour, just all of a sudden it just feels like, man, my brain is tired. So anyways, if it just starts feeling like sluggish or something, like it just feels tired. And, but anyway, so the, see, it just gets harder too. So the energy, all of the energy, and the stuff I see, like, there's people who really think like that we're going into, the end of the world. This is the end of the world. And it isn't the end of the world. But it could be for them. That may be why they feel that. But, when you're not feeling that, go with that feeling, because this isn't the end of the world. This is just the end of this this like the habitat that we have been stuck in. It's like the end of the habitat. It's the end of this system that contained us, but it's not the end of the world. And the world is just beginning. Our lives are just beginning. And now is going to be us. And like when you become the sunglass person, you're the creator of your life. You can make your life go, but it's not, because it's not like you're making it go in the direction you want. It is, you become so when they took me off, where I thought, okay, well, I'm going to be a nurse, I'm going to retire early, I'm going to make all this money, I'll have my house paid off, I'll have my timeshare, and that'll be paid off, and then I will retire early and just travel around all the time. And and then they were like, that's not what's going to go down. And they knock you off that track and take you out of everything that you thought you were supposed to be. And then you have to go through that loss. You have to go through all of the releasing and the loss and the rejection. There's just a lot you go through. I'm sure with all different kinds of disability things that happen to people, because I'm sure it's the same if somebody gets in a car wreck and is in a wheelchair or amputee or any of the kinds of things. When you change drastically from everybody else just it's kind of like the circle just gets smaller, and you just kind of find yourself on the outside of the circle because you just don't fit into the circle anymore. You got to go out and find your own circle. And so it's a new circle. And so, you go through that whole thing. And then at some point along my way, because it's like there's been different, like the different steps, the different layers, they have unique characteristics. And so, on a certain part is where they started showing me where I was going, what I was supposed to be doing, where, and it was me fighting against what they were telling me to do for a long while. Even when they were pushing me to start that YouTube 2 years before I even started it, but it was my own fear, my own concern of people rejecting me and thinking I was silly and stuff like that that held me back. So then I had to go through that process of releasing those things, and they'll step in, they'll give you circumstances that will be created where you have to face those certain things so you can release them and release them and release them so that you can get on the path that they tell you. And then once you get on that path that they tell you, they'll keep telling you things the whole way and explaining to you things. But it is you who has to listen and participate. Just like I said before, when they were telling me in the beginning, and I was like, oh man, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not good enough. You just start going through the whole thing. And so then so that's what I'm saying, is like a lot of levels, and everybody's is different. Like mine was, this coming and speaking. Like this is a big part of mine, my role or something is about speaking and, helping people find direction in their healing. And I think some of it is about helping people find love for themselves. You gotta forgive yourself. You gotta forgive others. And like I said a minute ago, you gotta forgive others ahead of you so that you can find forgiveness. If you just hold on to anger and resentment and stuff, then you're trailing it behind you. You're just dragging it with you. And, you see that however you want to see it. I see it is it's the generations, it's the movement behind you. It's what you're carrying. It's what the ancestors cross over, who want to fix it, who want to do better, who, join the team to sit there and tell you like, okay, get through this part. Because, they all have parts they're trying to clean up. Like there's things that happen, 200 years ago in your lineage that, they're still there trying to clean up because it still affects the people. But this is a big time of change. And this is a big release for a lot of souls to be released from that, so that, because everything's flipping. So they don't have to try and, it's like a reset. It's a flip. It's like, it's cleaned up. Let's do this again. And so it's like a flipping. So anyways, it's like a resetting the board. And it's not just on this planet. It's like the whole universe. So a lot of the beings that have been trying to clean up a lot of their messes hang out around you or tell you to, when you're in there, you're thinking about something and they'll say, oh, do this. And you think, oh, I'm such a genius. No, that's ego. So anyways, they'll all be released. It will be kind of this movement towards sovereignty, towards singularity, towards independence. I think all has so much to do with that, because we will be very independent souls. We're not going to have this. I think we're releasing all of the dark energies and stuff that have been attached to us through our lives. We are releasing that energy, transmuting it, giving it opportunity. That's why I said, a lot of it, you can talk to it too, but it can't just go in and change, into a different energy. It has to be released, but you can still talk to it and, give it insight or something. It's still, even if it's not on the same level of you as consciousness, it still is, you're still connected as an energy. And so there is still, a communication. You can still talk to it. You can still, explain to it, talk to it like it's a child or something. That's more of like where people think like beginning souls or something like that, is these attachments that are trying to understand what they are. So they attach to something else, just as we in the micro macro go into this observation of a reality of a game, and then we attach how we see ourselves into the game, how we have to try and understand ourselves. So I don't know if I'm making any sense. It makes sense to me. So anyways, it's just stuff to, be aware of and think about, because, this is what we're really here for, is about the spiritual stuff, not about, how much money did you make last year and stuff. That is part of your releasing that idea that money is the only way to success or happiness or whatever, because the universe is around you all the time. You don't have to be making, tons of money to be happy, and then plus there has to be a part of accepting your journey, what you're here for. There's just so many people who just do not understand that the whole concept of lack, to come in and to not have things, isn't a punishment by God. It is a gift to come in and understand priorities and understand what's important. When you have nothing and you figure, that you find love in your heart, even when you have nothing, that is, a gift from God. So there's such great purpose in having experience that isn't where you have a bunch of stuff. Lack is a wonderful teacher. So, and we've got to get out of these ideas of, because somebody's experiencing a certain thing, that they're doing something wrong, or they should be manifesting better, or they should be, no, it is, we have to understand that all souls have all different experiences. We have to allow everyone's experience and validate it as just as important as our own. And, not discount what other people go through, but to understand. And, and this is what we're gaining this compassion and empathy. We're gaining this knowledge by the experiences we're going through. The things that we're going through is what brings us together. It crosses over the barriers of division. So anyways, what was that other thing too? Because there was this one guy keeps coming into my head. Was it about division? What was he talking about? I don't know. He's fading away. Anyways, just we're still on the edge. No matter what, we're on the edge. No matter how long it takes for us to go over, we're on the edge. No matter how long it takes after my parachute is pulled and I'm drifting down, waiting to see where I'm supposed to land. Just because it's not being obvious, don't worry. And just keep doing the self-talk. You got to trust your own inner guidance, your own inner knowing, whatever it is they're telling you. Even if it makes no sense to every single other thing around you, you got to go with what they're telling you. And, and they're not telling me, I don't feel like there's just one set message on the house, other than they will point out all of this stuff that I did wasn't for nothing. So anyways, but I gotta see how it plays out. There's so many things. I'm just waiting to see how shit plays out. I'm just waiting to see my truth. That's what I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see where I'm supposed to land. So anyways, stay strong and just, stay working on you, because that's what it's all about. And I don't know how difficult it is for everybody else to do their work, if it really is like people are just lost and can't find themselves and can't hear, can't see, and but for anybody who is stuck like that, I think that is what this big shift is for, is to push them over that edge. We're all going to be pushed over the edge. And so, and it is kind of like brace for impact, but really remember, you got a parachute on. They can't hurt you. Remember, you can fall 2 miles, and if it's not your time to go, you won't go. So just work on you and just do your self-talk to keep yourself sane. That's what I say. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.